I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch of mine that bears no fruit, he takes away, and every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. You are already made clean by the word which I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. John chapter 15, verses 1 through 4. This is a 1999 Chevy Astro van, and I have recently replaced this Hydro Boost unit, which provides brake assist and also power steering assist. And there are other videos that show how to replace it, but the thing that I wanted to know was how to bleed it, or not bleed it, but flush it without running the old fluid through the new Hydro Boost unit. So if you want to flush your new Hydro Boost unit without getting any dirty fluid into it, I would recommend disconnecting this hose and capping this off, and so that way you're not flowing any fluid back down this way. You would supply your pump with the fluid, clean fluid from the reservoir down to the pump, and then it would come from the pump back up through this line. And so you would disconnect this line and run it into get a clear hose, half-inch will work over there, and you can just run that into a bucket or a container of some sort. And so you're going to want the clear hose so you can make sure that, you know, when your fluid changes from the dirty stuff to the good stuff. This pipe here runs from the Hydro Boost unit back to the pump through the power steering gear and the oil cooler. So it's actually a return line, although it is under pressure until it gets to the steering gearbox. Okay, I bought a 10-foot roll of this clear plastic tubing, 5/8 inch OD, 1/2 inch ID. So here is my setup. I have put the clear tubing over there, and I placed my hose clamp right over the bubble on the flare end there. Okay, first I'm going to pour some power steering fluid into the reservoir. So I poured just shy of a quart in there, and you can see this new fluid is clear, and I'm already getting the dark stuff coming out of this hose. And when we started the engine, I got a rush of fluid come through the hose, you know, probably emptied my reservoir of power steering fluid before I had, or, you know, I had to put quite a bit in to fill it back up again. I mean, it wasn't running dry or anything, but so I'm going to need some more power steering fluid before I can do an engine run again, because it dumps out of there fairly quickly. So next, you will connect this line back, so you'll have clean fluid from the reservoir down through the pump up to the Hydro Boost, and so everything going in here will be good. So then you can hook this back up, and then now you can disconnect the return line, which is this hose right here, which I don't have it disconnected, or I don't have it connected right now, but you see it goes right to that port, the one that's capped off right now, that's right next to it. And so I'm going to run, because I haven't flushed the steering gear part in in the oil cooler part of this system yet. So I'm going to run this hose into a bucket until it runs clear, and then I'm going to put that back on to that return port, and then the system should be completely flushed, and I never got the dirty fluid running through my Hydro Boost unit. And so one thing I forgot to mention, once you connect this back up, so you're supplying clean fluid to the Hydro Boost unit, then you're okay to hook this return hose back up, because you'll be then putting clean fluid back into that system. Okay, so here's the drain line coming from underneath the radiator up to here, and then I added this clear plastic section and then my receptacle for the dirty fluid. And I'm going to run the engine. I haven't put the fan blade back on because it's cold out here and no danger of overheating, so for just a short run. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so when we started the engine, the fluid started coming out pretty quick. Actually, we just tried rotating the steering wheel back and forth, and that worked to a point, but it didn't quite get the fluid flowing very well. So, but you want to make sure that you're not running the engine very long, because it doesn't take long to dump out the contents of the reservoir. So anyway, I'm running clear now, so I'm going to go ahead and disconnect my clear line and hook up the drain or the return line back onto the pump. Okay, so just for fair warning, when you pull that black cap off of the return line port in the pump, oil comes pouring out of there if you have oil in the reservoir. So I wasn't exactly prepared for that and dropped the cap, and so I was trying to hold it from my finger, and it was pretty bad. So anyway, so have a little container like I have up there up underneath when you pull that cap off, and make sure you have your return line hose routed the way you want it, because when you pull that off, you're going to want to stick it on. You're not going to want to have to take it off again. So okay, one other note, don't get too anxious about filling this remote reservoir up all the way. I did that. We had run basically the procedure that I had used to bleed the system was turn the steering wheel lock to lock, each direction, and then press the brake pedal 5 times, and then repeat that procedure 5 times. And then we tried that without running the engine first, and then we tried running the engine. Okay, and as the fluid level would go down, I would fill it up again. Okay, when he turned the engine off, the reservoir overflowed. So I would just exercise, don't fill it up above the full cold line when you're doing the bleeding, because you may end up swabbing down all of your parts underneath it again, like I'm going to have to do.